The idea for this video came from something I started to experience recently after 4.5 years of Warpath, and that is taking a break from the game. There's obviously not one universal right way or best way to do it, but I'm going to give you guys some of my thoughts on why taking a break is good and when to do it so it doesn't necessarily impact your enjoyment factor. In fact, it would probably end up helping your enjoyment factor within the game, and it won't negatively impact your alliance. So that's going to be what we're going to be discussing in this video in a nutshell. That said, let's go and get started. Welcome back, guys. I hope everybody is doing well. After 4.5 years of playing Warpath, I finally recently, over the last month, hit just a wall, truthfully. And now, obviously, I have the kind of added aspect of creating content for the game and not just getting on to play the game for, enjoyment purposes. Now, don't get me wrong. I very much enjoy the game. If I didn't enjoy the game, then I wouldn't continue making content about it. But that said, it just adds another layer. But even though that is something for me personally, I want to talk about just taking breaks in general, because for 4.5 years, I was on every day just about, logging in basically anytime we got the call, outside of when I was at work, of course. Anytime there was, fighting taking place, whatever the case was, I was on, I was ready to go, whatever the case may be. And I see a lot of people just in general, especially early game, but heck, I mean, still even late game, a lot of people will sacrifice family, work, friends for the game. And I appreciate that level of dedication. I absolutely do. But I think sometimes it goes a little bit too far for some people. And I had an opportunity, or I made the opportunity, I should say, for myself for the first time in literally 4.5 years to step away from Warpath very briefly and just kind of reset. And I wanted to see how it would affect me, give you guys some tips on how to maybe avoid hitting that wall like I did. And, I'd love to hear your thoughts and feedback as well in the comments. If you've hit a wall, if you've hit burnout, and what you did to kind of overcome it, or were you not able to and you just stepped away from the game permanently. So the first thing that I want to cover is when is the best time to take a break in Warpath. Now, if you are brand new in the game, there's really not a great time. That said, that is okay. That is more or less to your benefit, because there's generally always something going on, whether it's an event, a war, whatever it might be in the game, especially early stage of the game. There's always going to be something happening, always something for you to do. And that's also obviously when it's all brand new and fresh to you. And that's when you're gung-ho, you want to be on, you're loving it, you can't get enough of it. And that is more than okay at that stage of the game. Once you get 6 months, a year in, 2 years, you're going to be playing Theater of Conquest events, which are about a month long, and those are going to be depending on the level of which battlefield you're in, whether you're legendary, whether you're gold, whatever it may be. The battlefield that you're in is going to, in certain ways, dictate the intensity of the fighting that's taking place, as well as the frequency of the fighting taking place. So, for example, if you're competing in a legendary battlefield, which is going to be the highest level battlefield there is in Warpath, there's going to be a lot more fighting. There's going to be a lot more time commitment that is needed for your alliance to be successful. Regardless of what level you play at, in between Theater of Conquest events, so like I said, Theater of Conquest events are about a month long. In between, you have about a 2-week window of time where you're not doing anything. And by the time you reach that stage of the game, there's generally not any kind of inter-server wars. There might be a skirmish or two that breaks out here and there, but generally speaking, the server's at peace. There's not going to be much going on by the time you reach that stage of the game. Most of the end-game events that you're going to have, coming up are going to be just recycled events that you've already done 100 times. Obviously, getting on and doing your dailies or whatever, that's a personal preference. I personally stepped away for almost 2 weeks and just didn't log in. I didn't want to get on to do my dailies. I didn't get on to do anything. And I want to assure you that if you take that approach, number one, just let the Alliance leadership team know so they're not like, oh, this guy just randomly quit, and you didn't. You were planning on coming back when the next event started. only to come back and find you were kicked from the alliance because nobody knew what was going on. So just make sure you let your alliance leadership team know. Most of them are probably going to be cool with it since there's not really anything going on anyway. It gives you a chance to step away, focus on work, focus on your family, focus on whatever it is you need or want to do outside of the game. The next reason I would really encourage you to consider implementing breaks in a structured and organized way is to preserve the fun of the game. Like I said, played the game pretty much daily, nonstop. I mean, I say nonstop. I mean, I literally wasn't just on my computer or on my phone 24/7, but I played it pretty much every day. Now, some more than, some days I was on more than other days simply because there was more things happening. But I was pretty much playing almost every day for about 4.5 years. And I'll tell you, after 4.5 years, I love Warpath. I really do. It's a great game. I definitely see myself continuing to play for the foreseeable future as long as things, continue to be decent in the game. But taking breaks is gonna preserve the fun for you because it's gonna give you a little bit of that kind of, miss it aspect. If you take yourself away from the game, you're going to start to miss it. You're going to be like, I wonder what my buddies are doing. I wonder, I need to start doing this with my units or whatever. So it's going to kind of re-motivate you and keep that spark and that fun alive for you. And for some of you, now, maybe not for all of you. Obviously, if you're free to play, this isn't one that really is relevant to you. If you're a very low spender, not necessarily relevant to you. If you have control over your spending, this isn't necessarily for you, but I do know, and I've actually played with the guy firsthand. Now, this was years and years ago, but he maxed out. I mean, he was a big spender, and we just thought he was, had some big money backing him up that he could do it. Turned out, he ended up having to quit the game because he basically maxed out 2 credit cards and wasn't even able to pay them and had to step away from the game to pick up a second job to try to pay down, his credit card debt. Obviously, that's a very extreme situation. I'm assuming most of you are grown adults that have some kind of control over that. But stepping away from the game also takes any potential temptation away from spending in the game while things aren't going on. And I'm not saying, you should or shouldn't spend. I'm not a financial advisor or any of that. I'm just simply saying that if you step away from the game, you're not even going to have that temptation, which, might be a good thing. Again, it's all depends on your individual circumstance or whatever, but I just felt like it was something to throw out there that is worth being noted. And then the last point that I want to make here, which seems very, very obvious, but I've seen it happen with a handful of players in this game, is life simply comes first. I've seen guys that, they were on 18 plus hours a day. And if you're in a leadership role, that's great. You, as a alliance member, are very lucky to be in a alliance with somebody that is that dedicated. That said, though, from what I've seen, the players that are doing that end up having some pretty big personal problems, whether it's marriage problems, health problems, whatever. So, it's a game, guys. Like, I get some of y'all are investing some obscene amount of money into the game. If you've got it, you do you. All of the things, not here to judge by any means, but at the same time, you stepping away for a week or two is simply not going to be detrimental to you, especially if you are pumping money into the game. You stepping away from it for a week or two is going to make quite literally zero difference because you're just going to be able to buy any and everything you need anyway. So just kind of, again, I know it's very obvious, but don't neglect real life for the game. And keep in mind that it is an alliance-based game. It is not a individual versus individual player game. So you've got a team, speaking specifically in Theater of Conquest, of up to 130 players. That said, everybody needs to be pulling their weight. Now, everybody's in different time zones, doing different things, different work schedules, whatever that might look like for them. But the whole team has to pull the weight to be successful. So I think sometimes maybe people feel like, well, if I'm not on, we're not going to win this fight. And, if you're a mega whale, maybe that is true. But, everybody's got to pull their weight. If you're in a team that's just not pulling their weight instead of sacrificing your personal life, just find a different team that's going to be more active, that's going to allow you to have a better game-life balance. That said, that's going to wrap this video up. I just wanted to share some of my personal thoughts and opinions and encourage you guys, or more so give you comfort knowing that it is okay to take a break. I felt like for just about 4.5 years, I'm like, if I am not online, I'm going to be missing something, blah, blah, blah. I finally decided it was fine to take a break. I stepped away for basically 2 weeks, did not log in, but once or twice, and I missed basically nothing. I haven't suffered any growth because of it. it was very nice. It was a very much needed mental break and reset. And I would encourage you guys to consider doing the same, except I would do it somewhat frequently. Again, either every other every conquest theater of conquest break, or at least every other theater of conquest break, whatever makes the most sense for you. I just would definitely not encourage you guys to sit there and just, grind it out when it's just not necessary anyway. Take a break. It's okay. If you have stuck around and made it this far into the video, if you are not already in our community Discord server, the link to that is going to be in the description of the video below. Click on that link. It will take you right into the community Discord server. Whether you are a new player, a veteran player, or somewhere in between, absolutely everybody is welcome. As always, thanks for taking the time to watch the video today, and we'll see you on the next one.